This bitch gonna make me.
Hola mis Anabellas, welcome back to another video. So today we are back with another conspiracy time. Now today's conspiracy time is actually going to include conspiracies that are also going to be included in the conspiracy pop culture video for the podcast. So we're going to go over a couple of the few that will be in there, and then the podcast is going to have a whole lot more. It's going to be a lot longer, and it's going to be really fun. I'm looking to see if we can get a guest for it, but I'm not sure that we really can. I think we're going to start seeing guests maybe around, somewhere in the double-digit episodes. We'll see what's happening. Crazy time. Lots of things going on, but let's get into the pop culture conspiracies. Okay, so what I have started doing, guys, is literally like video notebooks and everything. So like whenever I have to do video and everything and I gotta do like things, I got like a notebook and everything. Also for the podcast, because we got lots of things to talk about in the podcast, and it's kind of like that. So that is the new way of me doing things. So let's go down the pop culture conspiracies, you guys, because there are a lot. There might be some that you guys have heard of before. There might be some that you guys have never heard of before. It's a whole lot. So let's get into the very first pop culture conspiracy. So this very first conspiracy is that Stevie Wonder isn't blind. So he said that he went blind when he was born. He was born premature. So they had to put him in a newborn incubator, right? And the environment of this newborn incubator, it is what actually led him to go blind. It is the reason that he is blind. And that's the story that he told us. So basically, the theory is that he actually is not. Now, remember, everyone, this is just a theory. It is not fact. There is no, hardcore evidence saying, look, we literally can prove to you that he is not. But there is some evidence for this conspiracy, which is actually really interesting. And I don't know. To me, after we go over this evidence, it's kind of going to be like, oh, well, you don't want to say that to a guy who's blind, but it looks like you're kind of not blind, right? So let's just get into this. So the first piece of evidence that people bring up for this is that his songs are very visual. Now, for me, this evidence doesn't really provide anything to the conspiracy because, yes, it might be very visual, his songs, this is so, I don't know, beautiful, like ocean, just visual things. For me, it's kind of well, that's kind of how songs go. Also, not everyone writes their music. I do believe that he does write some of his music, but what they try to do is try to make their songs and music as kind of relatable as possible so people do like it. So for me, this piece of evidence that people use, for me, it doesn't really add up. It doesn't really work to me because not everyone writes all of their music. That's one thing for sure, right? So that piece is kind of iffy to me. But the next piece is that he likes to sit down courtside at NBA games. Now this one is a little bit strange, but at the same time it's also well, wait a minute. So obviously if he's blind, he can't even watch the game. He can hear it, but he sits courtside whenever he goes to them, which is, a little bit strange. But why would you want the best seat in the house if you can't watch the game? I understand that, but at the same time, it's also kind of just well, if you are a celebrity going to a basketball game or just a sports game in general, I think that you would want to try to get the best seat in the house, right? So to me, this one does make sense. Why would you get the best seat in the house if you can't watch the game? But then at the same time, it's also well, there is a reason that he would, because he's a celebrity and he would want to get the best seat in the house and not sit, I guess, with the rest of the people. You know what I mean? So to me, this evidence, it adds up and it also has reason for being. So this one's 50-50 for me. The next one is that Daryl Dawkins, a late NBA star, he said that Stevie Wonder can see. Now that for me is pretty okay, because they were apparently really close, good friends. So to me, it's kind of well, now if he's saying that, that's pretty because they never had any beef. They were never like falling out. They were friends. They were good friends. So to me, it's kind of like that is evidence, kind of, that he said that he can see. So this one, I like this to add up to it. That kind of adds up for the conspiracy that this guy said that he can. He sounds like a credible guy, and he's no longer here. So to me, it's pretty like credible, if you ask me. And the next two are actually the pieces that I personally really go like, this is real. This man can see. So the first one is that there are pictures. So the paparazzi caught him taking pictures of things. Like, he is taking pictures on his phone. So one of them is that he was taking a picture of a wax statue of Michael Jackson. Like himself, like there was no one else there helping him, nothing. Like he's there in front of the wax statue going like on his phone. So for me, that's pretty good evidence in itself. But the next one is video evidence. Now this one is that there is a video of him catching a mic while it is falling during a performance with like a bunch of people in front of him. I don't even know how many people there were in front of him. Couple hundred, maybe 1,000 or something like that, maybe 2,000. But there are all these people in front of him, and there's cameras, and it's like being recorded, and like the mic. So imagine my tripod falling, okay? It's falling, and I catch it during fall, like perfectly catch it, and I put it back up, and there you go. Like that's what he did with the mic stand, and I'm like, well, that in itself is pretty good. So to wrap up the conspiracy that Stevie Wonder can actually see, I would say that there is good proof to show that he is able to see, that he is not blind. But at the end of the day, we don't know for certain, but there's pretty good proof about that conspiracy. Now, this next conspiracy, it is a controversial conspiracy. Now this one is that J.K. Rowling, she is the author of the Harry Potter series. The conspiracy basically is that she did not write the Harry Potter books, and she is an actress to, be the face of Harry Potter. So let's get into this conspiracy. So the conspiracy started when some lady went on a news network and she was like, I don't think she wrote these. There's just no way that she did. And she was like, it's impossible for her to write all of these books in 10 years and go from being, extremely poor, living on the street, to being such a great selling author and being rich and all of that, and like a total 180, on her life. So that's where the conspiracy did start. Now the conspiracy is basically that she is an actress who was hired by all these professionals to be the face of the franchise, because if you put like such a person with such a story as the head of the franchise, you would sell more and it would be more popular, it would sell better. And that is one of the reasons that Harry Potter is so big, because of her rags to riches story. And this woman created the series like that. So that's it. Looking at this, to me, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, it's kind of just wrong. I don't believe this conspiracy. I do believe that J.K. Rowling, she actually wrote the Harry Potter series. I believe that she did it in 10 years' time. She wrote, like, probably the most popular, most well-known and recognized book series in the entire world. I believe that she did that in 10 years' time. And to me, the conspiracy is also kind of like, so are you saying that people who aren't, from a good background or don't have good standing currently in life, like they aren't capable of creating good things? Like, that's what the conspiracy sounds like to me. It's like, how could she be such a poor woman on the street, raising her kid and creating the Harry Potter series? To me, it's like, people have imaginations. People can create things. So to me, the conspiracy, it just falls apart right there, because it's like, you're underestimating that people can actually do things. So it's like underestimating someone who's from like a really terrible area, and you're like, they can't go to college. They just never do it. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. So that's why I really, personally, I don't agree with this conspiracy. There's nothing in it that makes me go, well, there's a possibility. Like, to me, she wrote the series. She wrote it in 10 years' time, and she wrote it while she was homeless, raising her kids. So to me, it's like, no, that's just a terrible conspiracy to me. Now, the last one that we're going to be doing for today's pop culture conspiracy video is that Lorde is lying about her age. Now, Lorde is a singer, an American singer, and her birth certificate, as we see it, she was born in 1996. So right now in 2021, she would be, give me a minute, everyone, in her 20s. That's what we're gonna say. She would be in her 20s right now. And she told Vanity Fair that she is 45 years old. To me, it honestly just sounds like there's not much to this conspiracy. It's just if her birth certificate says she was born in 1996 and she's saying she's 45, she's clearly lying. Maybe she wants some publicity, but other than that, there's not much to this. So it's kind of like, Well, Annabellas, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's pop culture conspiracies. We will be doing more. But for right now, that is it. Definitely make sure to check out the podcast episode. We're going to be going over a lot more than just this many. We're going to go over so many. There's so much in pop culture. It's like honestly kind of insane. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time. Adios, Annabellas.